Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gag weight theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer-mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical, Russ Belville.
All right. Welcome, everybody. It's time for Toker Talk Radio. The phone lines are open at 650-LEGAL-MJ, 650-534-2565. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. First of all, I messed up. I didn't turn on the recorder until halfway through hour one. Doesn't affect you guys listening live any, but it means after the end of the show, after I disconnect from you guys, I got to spend the next half hour re-recording everything that I said in the first half hour. It just makes my Friday a little bit longer, but that's okay. We're doing it live, and that's the way it works. So I've been pretty electrified these past 3 days by the growing story over Kevin Sabet from Project Sam violating Massachusetts drug laws in his stunt at WGBH involving allegedly medicated gummy bears. And I reported on this, and it's now starting to gain some traction in some other outlets. Marijuana.com has reported on it pretty prominently and has some good update, a discussion with Keith Saunders and Madeline Martinez on their way to the testing laboratory to drop off the gummy bears to be tested. We got some other updates as well, because now Raw Story has picked up the incident. Their headline is, "Stupid-ass anti-weed activist brought pot edibles to legalization forum and lost them." This is great. And the lead is, "A prominent anti-marijuana legalization activist not only violated Massachusetts law by bringing THC-infused candy to a seminar about pot legalization, he then lost the drugs when someone pocketed the stash." Now, Raw Story cites the marijuana.com story, doesn't mention the fact that I broke this story, but marijuana.com does, so that's okay. I get credit eventually. But this is... now that Raw Stories picked this up, this is going to get a whole lot more exposure, because that takes us into more of the mainstream political reporting than just marijuana.com or weednews.co, where it's going to be you and me, weed supporters. The story also updates us by saying Boston's Fox 25 has posted a video from the forum, from the security cameras there, that shows a man picking up the bags of candy and dropping them into a woman's carryall. And now Keith Saunders has said that it was an anonymous person that picked them up and then gave them to Saunders. Others have looked at the video and said, no, that looks like Saunders picking up the candy. I haven't seen the video yet. I've just gotten this story, and I haven't gotten to the video, but let's see if we can pick this up from the Fox 25 affiliate there in Massachusetts. Let's see if we can get some volume on this. Here we go. All right.
bears after the debate at the Edward M. Kennedy Institute. A representative from a national group against legalizing pot left the candy on a desk, and the theft is all caught on tape. I've obtained the surveillance video after the debate ended. Watch for the arrow. You can see a man walk over to the desk where the gummies were left and pick them up and drop them into a woman's bag. The man walked over and briefly spoke to the campaign manager for the group in favor of legalizing marijuana. Then he left. Now, during the debate, the person who left them there had held up 2 bags of candy and asked the audience which one was infused with marijuana and which one wasn't.
This is a significant public policy debate, and we're doing juvenile stuff like this. I don't know. I guess it doesn't surprise me.
I did reach out to the spokesman for the campaign to regulate marijuana like alcohol. He tells us, why is he even allowed to possess illegal items, and why wasn't he responsible in his possession of them? At 11:30 tonight, we are taking a closer look at ballot question 4, which seeks to legalize marijuana for adults. We'll be talking more in depth with those who support legalization, and tomorrow we'll be speaking with those who oppose it. Sharman Sacchetti, Fox 25 News.
So the Fox affiliate in Boston is picking up on it now. And I did watch that video while we were listening. And it's kind of grainy because it's security footage video. You could make the case that it was Keith Saunders, and you could make the case that it wasn't. So we'll see how that shakes out. Other quotes here in the Raw story write-up of this. Says, talks to Keith Saunders, who says, quote, if he was telling the truth, one of those bags contains over an ounce of THC-laden product, which is above the decriminalization limit in Massachusetts. Sabet either had to procure them elsewhere and bring them into Massachusetts in violation of federal law, or he had to procure them illegally in Massachusetts. While we do have legal edibles for patients, he is not a Massachusetts resident, to my knowledge. Either he did that, or he offered a counterfeit substance, which itself is a crime in Massachusetts. He committed a crime one way or another. He thought he was being a smartass and showing off, but in reality, he was committing a crime. End quote. So looking forward to more outlets picking this up and running with it and embarrassing the hell out of Kevin Sabet over this issue. What a stupid move. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a plan in New Jersey being offered up to regulate marijuana like cigarettes. Yeah, Chris Christie will go for that. Sure, he will. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio on the Russ Belville Show, live on CannabisRadio.com from beautiful legal Potland, Oregon. Gonna pay some bills. We'll be right back. And later on in the hour, we'll talk about the Stoners Against Legalization Maine edition.
This is the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
Every strain, every sale, every medical study. Keep it right here on the Cannabis Radio Network.
Oh, let the marijuana llama tell you something now about a game for your phone gonna make you say, wow! The game's about the game of growing cannabis for cash. Grow the seed, sell the bud, put the savings in the stash. Little by little, your empire grows large. Put different celebrities inside your entourage. You can choose to play with Snoop or me or Cheech and Chong. Cypress Hill, Willie Nelson, Wiz Khalifa with a bong. The name of the game is Hemp Inc., that's the point. Download and play while you light yourself a joint. The business of cannabis should be no crime. Hemp Inc. is even hot-proofed by the man who run High Times. Oh yeah? Get it on Android and iOS today. Marijuana llama out. Got to tend to me own crops, you know. Money don't make itself. Hemp Inc.
Get ready to hear something good about cannabis.
I give you Jasmine Huff.
Tell us a little bit about Jasmine. Give us the good news about how you've gotten to where you are today
like all good children, I rejected my parents' values and ran off to become a capitalist in New York City and did a lot of work with an organization called Women 2.0. Looking at the cannabis industry, I said, you know what? Here we have a brand new industry. It's going to be $1 billion industry. And the rules of who leads this industry and who funds this industry haven't been written yet.
Good news. Only on CannabisRadio.com.
You're not high. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
Adrian, I finished it. I got Adrian.
Okay, maybe you're high, too.
Marijuana legalization is a worldwide phenomenon. Get yourself positioned for the global cannabis marketplace by attending the International Cannabis Business Conference in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. You'll learn from established cannabis professionals, elected officials, and internationally recognized marijuana law reform activists. You'll also enjoy the ICBC's famous VIP party featuring ICBC special guest speaker and Canadian native Tommy Chong. The ICBC is happening in Vancouver on Thursday and Friday, October 13th and 14th at the Hyatt Regency. Log on to internationalcbc.com today to reserve your tickets. That's internationalcbc.com and bookmark our page for the next ICBCs taking place in Berlin, Germany and San Francisco, California. Don't miss the International Cannabis Business Conference, internationalcbc.com.
Pod 2.0. It's not your father's Woodstock weed. This is the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. 12 after the hour, and want to talk a little bit about the plan going on, this proposal in New Jersey for marijuana legalization. And the interesting thing about this is that most of the time when we're talking about legalization, the theme is treat marijuana like alcohol. Regulate marijuana like alcohol. This one, though, would regulate marijuana like cigarettes. So one of the conditions here is that the age for marijuana consumption set in this bill being proposed for New Jersey would be the same age as cigarette consumption in the state, the age of 19. And that's going to be an interesting battle to fight. And it would be interesting because at the age of 19, there are still some people, you know, they may have failed a grade or something, or had one of them birthdays that's late in the year, they could still be in high school. And so that's going to be kind of a tough thing to sell to parents and people that are reticent to want to legalize the idea that a 19-year-old, someone who could be in high school, could be of legal age to be able to get marijuana and possess it. We shall see how much of a battle this would be. The legislator who's putting this together is State Assemblyman Michael Patrick Carroll, and he says all the right things about legalization. He says it makes more sense than, you know, the war on drugs. But he says, to me, it's just not a big deal. It's already ubiquitous. Anybody who thinks this is somehow going to increase the availability of marijuana has never been 19. It's interesting because, you know, all these pushes that we have to legalize marijuana have always focused on age 21, always focused on this treat marijuana like alcohol idea. Yet it is clear from decades of federal surveys that the greatest concentration of marijuana consumers by age runs from 18 to 25. And so with legalization at 21, you are automatically rejecting the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds who are adults, who are able to vote, are able to join the military and sign contracts and so forth. You are keeping them from being able to use cannabis legally. And at that age, it would be a great time to get them choosing the safer substance than choosing alcohol. By keeping the age at 21 for both of those substances, then we're kind of putting them on a level playing field. And I think that the age for cannabis ought to be lower than the age for alcohol. In a sense, to incentivize the idea that if you're going to do something, you're going to take some sort of substance, let's get you on the one that's safer. Let's get you on the one that's got less harm to self and society. Now, the bill would allow retailers to sell marijuana to anyone over the age of 19. That's the cigarette age. And would not include any amounts or any limits on possession. So not only are we going to go for age 19 in New Jersey, we're going to go with unlimited possession. And it also includes expungement for past offenses. Well, folks, I'm in support of this, of course. Yeah, let's make it age 19. Let's make it unlimited possession. But New Jersey? You're going to try to pull this in New Jersey? This would be a tough sell in Oregon. This would be a tough sell in Vermont or Colorado, Rhode Island, places that have a great deal of cannabis culture and experience. And you want to try to pull this in New Jersey? Well, folks, it ain't going to happen. As long as Governor Chris Christie sits in the governor's mansion, it ain't going to happen. He has vowed to veto any bill that would decrim or legalize marijuana. And the only thing that provides hope here is the fact that Chris Christie is in his second term. And New Jersey has a term limit that forbids someone from serving more than 2 consecutive terms. So in 2017, he can't run again for re-election. Now, this is not the only bill floating around in New Jersey with the idea of reforming marijuana laws. There's a second bill. This bill is by Assemblyman Reed Gashora. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This one's more of a regulate marijuana like alcohol. It'd be sold in liquor stores to people over the age of 21, something more akin to the legalizations that have already passed. Now, the third bill that is being proposed is one that wouldn't legalize in New Jersey, but only in Atlantic City. Now, Atlantic City, of course, known for its casinos and boardwalk, has been going through tough economic times. Used to be that there was only 2 real gambling meccas in America, Las Vegas and Atlantic City. And that, held some allure. But since casino gambling is now spread to Indian casinos, riverboat casinos, and so forth, the allure of Atlantic City has diminished. There's not really a good reason to go there when you can go to Foxwoods. You can go to all these other places in Connecticut and New York that are run by Indian tribes. So Atlantic City has been struggling financially, and this bill, the idea would be, once again, to turn Atlantic City into a kind of a mecca. In this case, though, a mecca for legal pot use. Now, again, I can always support reforms in marijuana laws, but looking at this Atlantic City bill, it seems like it wouldn't be very practical. See, the idea that you could go to some city like Atlantic City as a vacation destination and gamble for fun, that's something that seems appealing. But the idea that you would go there just because it's the only place you could smoke pot, well, I can see a lot of possible unintended consequences, like, are you in the city limits or not? Are you outside the incorporated city limits? It just seems like let's just legalize the entire state rather than city by city. I think that makes a whole lot more sense.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Thank you, Senator. That sound means it's 4:20 here in the Pacific time zone. That means we've got to take our union-mandated safety meeting. I've been feeling a little dangerous lately. Not as dangerous as Carlos Danger. You seen the latest on Anthony Weiner? My goodness. Some people's names are just too appropriate, aren't they? We're back in just 2 minutes.
We have your smoking section right here. This is the Cannabis Radio Network.
Great websites today need expert web design and development and need to be e-commerce ready and mobile friendly. But building a marketable and profitable website can be an uphill climb. Ready to make your new website or replace your existing website? Think Orange as the new way to get in the black. Orange Hill Development works with Fortune 500 companies and offer the same top quality development service at a fraction of what other providers charge. Brands like Absolute, Carlsberg, and Nestea trust Orange Hill Development. Find out why you should trust your website with Orange Hill. Contact Orange Hill for a consultation today at orangehilldevelopment.com.
NORMAL stands for Responsible Adult Cannabis Use. If cannabis use is causing problems in your life, consider taking a break or seeking medical assistance. Consider ceasing cannabis use if you have a family history of mental illness. Don't drive or operate heavy machinery while impaired by cannabis use. Cannabis use is not without risks, even though the risks may be far less than those posed by legal drugs. You're not high. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
The Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment.
Okay, maybe you're high, too.
When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The Law Office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired-up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com.
Warning, hits taken on this show are larger than they appear. Do not try this at home. These people are professionals. Or at least they pay me to say that. This is Dan Michaels from danmichaelsaudio.com, and you're listening to Radical Russ on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Another quick little update on this Sabet gummy, gate that we've been covering. In the Fox 25 story, there's this says Fox 25. Where is this? Where is it? Okay, here we go. Fox 25 political reporter obtained video of the theft. The debate was at the Edward M. Kennedy Institute. Man picks up the gummies, etc. Here's the important quote. The gummy bears, which did not actually contain marijuana, according to the anti-pot legalization group, had been used as a visual aid to show that commercial gummies and those made with cannabis are indistinguishable. So we have confirmation then. We have confirmation from Project Sam that on Wednesday, on television, in the debate regarding an initiative to legalize marijuana in Massachusetts, Kevin Sabet used a prop of 2 bags of candy and lied about one of them containing THC. Lied twice about one of them containing THC. Now, in Massachusetts, that's a crime when you present a substance that's not a drug and you claim that it is a drug. That's called a counterfeit substance crime. And there are criminal penalties that include incarceration for that type of crime. And the other part, of course, aside from any crime that might have been committed, is the intellectual dishonesty of that stunt. In that stunt, he was trying to challenge the audience to look at the two bags. And again, we're talking about two clear plastic bags, not original packaging, no labeling like is required by law in Colorado and Oregon and Washington and soon in Alaska. Nope, just two clear plastic baggies, one with gummies, one with another candy in it. And challenge the audience to determine which one of them had the THC and which one of them didn't. Well, if neither one of them had the THC in it, then what Sabet was doing was, a fraud. He was committing a fraud during the debate. Nobody could possibly tell them apart because neither of them had THC in it. So this is where it's come to, and people are reacting to this. This is really going to take hold, I think, and it's going to, as if Kevin Sabet's credibility and integrity hadn't already been called into question numerous times over the past 4 years. This one may be the one that really, really sinks him. Because now he's seen as an opportunist. Now he's seen as a propagandizer. Now he's seen as someone who's willing to say anything or do anything to promote his agenda. State Senator Vinny DeMacedo, I think is his name, reacted this way. He said, quote, "This is a significant public policy debate, and we're doing juvenile stuff like this? I don't know. I guess it doesn't surprise me." End quote. A juvenile stunt like this. So already not an accurate presentation, given that now the law in Colorado forbids medicated gummy bears. You can't make candies with THC in them that have colors or shapes, animal shapes, human shapes that are appealing to kids. The gummy bears he had in that plastic bag could not have been THC gummy bears purchased in Colorado recently because you couldn't get those kind. So it's already an improper demonstration by that regard. It's also an improper demonstration, a fraudulent demonstration, by having him in a clear plastic baggie when that's not the way they'd come in Colorado or any of the other states. But now we have the confirmation from Project Sam itself that Kevin Sabet was blatantly, bold-facingly lying twice in his attempt to scare people about gummy bears. So very excited about this, very excited about mainstream media picking this up, and I keep refreshing my news feed to see if any others are repackaging the story. But I think that's it so far that we've gotten out of the news. So Raw Story, Boston's Fox affiliate, and marijuana.com have picked up on it so far. Very excited. All right, let me get to another story real quick. And that is another one of these stupid stoner stories. I'm not going to go with the theme or anything for this one. And it's a story coming out of THV11 in Arkansas. We've been doing a lot of Arkansas today. Let me run the feed for you, and we'll discuss the story after. See if we can get this loaded.
Some shocking video out of North Little Rock, what is believed to be marijuana.
And the child's uncle posted the video on Facebook and has been arrested. THV11's Erica Ferrando has the story.
North Little Rock police originally found the disturbing video while investigating 17-year-old Lamel Yancey for an unrelated burglary charge. The investigator happened to come across the video showing Yancey giving what he referred to as weed to his 3-year-old nephew.
Yeah, weed, yeah, they're gay. Yeah.
This 3-year-old seen taking what's referred to as weed in the video and smoking it.
Get the blood one more time. Yeah. Hey, oh no, that's enough, baby.
This 11-minute-long video shows the toddler's uncle, Lamel Yancey, giving it to him to smoke.
This child holds this like someone would be smoking. And so, it makes you think this is not the first time that this child has been exposed to this.
The investigation started September 1st when an off-duty officer happened to come across the video on Facebook while looking for burglary suspects. Yancey hands the child the suspected marijuana and puts it in his mouth.
This is where the child actually starts smoking it.
North Little Rock police arrested Yancey earlier this week. He's being charged as an adult for endangering the welfare of a minor. He's being held at the Pulaski County Jail on a $2,500 bond.
Definitely just disturbed, appalled by what I'd seen.
The child was taken into custody by DHS, who took him to Children's Hospital for a hair follicle test to see if drugs were in his system. Those results can't be released.
That child has no control, doesn't know, what he's doing.
The child's mother, seen here.
You can hear the mother make a comment in there one time saying, don't let him have that.
Police say the child, under custody of his grandmother, was returned to his grandmother a few days after DHS took him.
He cried.
Now DHS is continuing to investigate. Yancey is scheduled for a court appearance November 11th.
Yeah, so yet another one of these stories. We get one every couple of weeks or month or so, where somebody not only does the stupid thing of encouraging a young child, a toddler, to smoke pot. That's bad enough. But then to film it, to video it, and put it on Facebook. So there's like extra special levels of stupid involved in this story. I don't think anyone should ever go to jail or be prosecuted for their use of marijuana. But that's for their use of marijuana. That's for their use as a cognizant adult capable of making rational decisions. A 3-year-old does not have that ability to choose to smoke pot. And even if he does choose to do it, even if he isn't enticed to do it, he doesn't have the age of majority, doesn't have the wherewithal to make that decision. It's just wrong. And so if he's punished for that, I don't necessarily have too much of a problem with it. Now, it's not as if he was beating the child, right? The harm to the child from the marijuana smoking is going to be negligible at best. But still, it's a stupid move. It should be condemned, and he's got to face some sort of punishment for this. All right, we're going to take a break. I got to catch up on some quick other stories. Chat room asks, I started consuming at age 8. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. It's not okay for kids to be smoking pot. But I wouldn't arrest the kid for it. I wouldn't punish the kid for it. The adult that supplies it to him, yeah, that's a problem.
This is the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
Earn your PhD in THC monetization with CannabisRadio.com. Don't be late.
The cannabis industry is growing, business is booming, and as new opportunities arise in newly legalized states, each market is getting more competitive. Today, it takes more than just being a good grower. Do you have the resources to market and handle this ever-changing business landscape? Let Canna Management Corporation help you grow your canna business with our vast resources and experience to make your business a fully functional service company. Financial management, HR, sales, marketing, efficiency, and more. CMC has the experience and the expertise to improve your business and help you better meet the demands of your clients and customers. Call Canna Management Corporation and let our team get you ready to grow. 415-269-8015. That's 415-269-8015. Or visit canna-management.com.
Growing green to generate more green.
Talking with multi-cup award winner Maya Elizabeth.
The Grow Show with Kyle Kushman.
I've always followed Whoopi, and I think she's fantastic. I've followed her advocacy over the years. Tell me a little bit how you think partnering with a mainstream high-profile figure actually benefits the cannabis community as a whole.
I have infinite respect for Whoopi Goldberg. I wouldn't just partner with any into that kind of thing. I'm into cannabis medicine, and I'm into making quality products that people can find relief from. So to hear that her vision was actually the same, it's been beyond a dream to manifest.
The Grow Show with Kyle Kushman, only on CannabisRadio.com.
This is the Russ Belville Show, annoying Kevin Sabet since 2012.
New beginner guitars and banjos are often constructed much better than ones built before your time. Why struggle? Get a new instrument or fix the old one. The trusted professionals at the Fingerboard Extension will evaluate your instrument for free. Repairs are priced for people who work for a living. Stop by the Fingerboard Extension downtown Corvallis at 120 Northwest 2nd Street today, or check out its inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com.
Most of us pirates, we go on vacation to North Dakota, you know, because they've got a town called Argusville. What are you smoking there, boy? This is Dan Michaels from danmichaelsaudio.com, and you're listening to Radical Russ on CannabisRadio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. 37 after the hour. We continue our preview of the upcoming marijuana election night 2016. Tuesday, November 8th, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, with 6 hours of coverage for all the states voting on marijuana reform, time zone by time zone. As the polls close, we will bring you the latest election returns. You'll learn first on CannabisRadio.com which states have joined the march toward cannabis freedom. And one of those states that has an initiative on the ballot is Montana. We spoke earlier with Jeff Krause. He's the campaign treasurer for Initiative 182. This is the initiative to restore Montana's medical marijuana program, to establish dispensaries, etc. Just basically to fix what the legislature messed up in 2011. Well, we've got an update coming out of Montana where the Commissioner of Political Practices is investigating the opponents of 182, an anti-medical marijuana group called Safe Montana, for possible campaign finance violations. The commissioner says he's cleared his docket so he can dedicate all his resources to the anti-marijuana troops. Krause says, quote, "They were 3 weeks late filing their campaign report, and it pushed me over the edge. I'm saying timeliness matters and transparency matters," end quote. Now, Safe Montana is backed by Steve Zabawa. Steve Zabawa is a wealthy car dealership owner in Montana who is almost 100% responsible for the funding for Safe Montana. He's poured tens of thousands of dollars into his opposition and was backing a marijuana prohibition initiative. He was backing an initiative that would have set Montana's marijuana laws to match federal laws and abolish all medical marijuana in Montana. Now, he failed to get enough signatures to get on the ballot, thankfully enough. But now he's turned his attention 100% to defeating Initiative 182 through this Safe Montana. Now, I-182 already has 4 elections complaints against Safe Montana. And now we've got this investigation from the state on their campaign finance. Zabawa says, quote, even if we're late, we are still being fully transparent. Everything is there for anybody to review, end quote. Well, yeah, see, you don't just get to dismiss it like that. The campaign finance rules have timelines and deadlines that you have to abide by as well. So aside from that complaint, there's 3 other complaints. One is failure to disclose spending on billboards. And they say that's against the rules and it needs to be punished. And there are still 2 other complaints out there as well. So the investigators are looking at all the claims. The commissioner says, quote, we'll try to get a prompt decision out and it will assess what Safe Montana has done. If there are any violations, it will state those, and it will also direct Safe Montana as to what it has to do for the remainder of the election cycle. Most likely would end in fines at worst. So there you go. It's always telling to me when our opponents, who like to paint themselves as the law and order crowd, like to presume that we cannabis consumers are promoting anarchy and can't follow the rules, when in truth, we're the ones who want the rules. We're the ones who want the laws. We want the regulation. And it seems we're the ones that actually follow the laws when it comes to campaign finance reporting. These opponents that usually are made up of law enforcement and drug rehabs and drug testers, all these prohibition Puritans out there, usually have their act together a little better than this. But many times they get this arrogance. They have this hubris. You know, they just kind of feel like the system works for them. And they're above it. And the rules are for the little guys. For those dirty potheads, not for them. Well, not this time, guys. Not this time. Now, looking at another state and another issue that gets me riled up, Maine Public Radio has issued a story called High Stakes, Why Some Pot Advocates Oppose Question 1. Question 1, of course, being their legalization initiative in the state of Maine. Now, as these initiatives go, if you are a fan of marijuana legalization, of the 5 that are on the ballot this year and the 4 states that have already passed, Maine is the superior initiative. Every other state only allows you to possess an ounce. Maine's going to let you possess 2.5. Almost all the other states only let you grow 4 or 6 plants. Maine's going to let you grow 6 mature plants, 12 immature plants, and an unlimited number of seedlings. The currently legal states don't have recognized pot lounges. The other 4 states voting on it have all these clauses that say maybe, might, will, perhaps have pot lounges. Maine, explicit pot lounge licensing. So Maine's looking really good if you're a fan of marijuana legalization. But even with that, even with the expansive possession and expansive cultivation, and Maine's also got some protections for some of our rights. I forget which ones, but like, child custody, organ transplant, that kind of stuff. Even with all that, even with it being the best of the legalizations, you knew there just had to be some stoners against legalization up there in Maine for whom this would not be good enough. So what they got the concern here is pretty obvious for those of you who followed this phenomenon over the past 6 years. And it's the simple case of I got's mine. Maine, of course, is one of the medical marijuana states. And the first paragraph of the Maine Public Radio story talks about the worry some have about the effect legalization will have on the state's medical marijuana program and, the important part, the mom and pop economy it has created. There are 3,000 caregivers, 8 dispensaries, and 24,000 patients in Maine. And the folks involved in that little cottage industry like things just the way they are. And I tell you, it just gets maddening to have to cover state after state after state where the minority of cannabis consumers who have been segregated from the potential of incarceration and having their lives ruined over their use because of their health conditions, that segregated, separate, but equal group then stands up to want to try to oppose us receiving the same protection, from us joining the same special club of people that don't have to worry about cops taking them to jail over weed. Every year, every state, every initiative I have to deal with this, I just get madder and madder and madder. This idea that this mom and pop economy evolved out of prohibition and should be protected at all costs, including the cost of delaying justice and freedom to the majority of cannabis consumers, is just an untenable position. And it's an immoral position. Now, it's not that I hate growers. It's not that I hate families that have been generations of cannabis farmers and that's how they put food on the table and so forth. I don't. I'm pro small business. I'm pro small farmer. I'm pro local entrepreneurship, all that kind of stuff. However, there needs to be a recognition. There needs to be a recognition by the people involved in the medical marijuana business or the illegal marijuana business. There needs to be a recognition that the only thing keeping that model in working order is the prohibition that costs marijuana consumers their freedom, their pets, their kids, sometimes their life. So this idea that we need to go to extraordinary lengths to protect a system propped up by the misery inherent in prohibition profit is not anything I can get behind. Now, I'm willing to entertain policy options that keep the barriers to entry low for the small farmer, that provide avenues for them to be able to compete in the newly legal marketplace. Absolutely. That's why I thought the idea of delaying mega grows in the amendments they put in Prop 64 was a good idea. Let's let the little guys get a leg up for a while. But we're also going to have to recognize that no matter what efforts we go to, no matter what lengths we try to go to, we're never going to completely protect all of the people that are involved in the market the way it is, because the massive change, the wholesale paradigm shift that will occur, moving from a artificially inflated prohibition price structure to a market-driven economy of scale sort of price structure, is going to displace people. It's just going to happen. It wouldn't matter what initiative you pass to legalize. It's going to happen. There's going to be displacement. There's going to be small pot farmers who aren't very good businessmen or women who, without that crutch of prohibition profit, aren't going to be able to make the books balance, aren't going to be able to succeed in this business world. And that's okay. That's the evolution of economies. I mean, I'll bet there was a whole bunch of families that for generations put their kids to school and fed them and paid the bills. Over in the economy evolved around horses as transportation. Guys that made horseshoes, guys that, ran stables and so forth. And a lot of those people were displaced when the automobile was invented and horses ceased to be used for transportation. You didn't have the buggy whip manufacturers and the saddle manufacturers lobbying to ban car manufacturing to protect their business interests. We recognize that things change and people need to change with them. And that's going to happen with marijuana. All right, stay tuned. We're back in just a couple of minutes. We'll close up shop and get you ready for the weekend.
This is the Russ Belville Show on CannabisRadio.com.
Forwarding the cause of legalization and research of the growing cannabis industry, one podcast at a time. The Cannabis Radio Network.
Play as Ted Growing, expelled botany sophomore and the biggest grower in town, only on Weed Firm Replanted. Available on the App Store and Google Play.
It's a lot of work being the biggest grower in town. Maintaining a room full of plants while dealing with a slew of eccentric customers? From a hardcore partier to the curious neighbor next door.
Is anybody home?
Help me expand my bud business by unlocking new strains, customizing my grow room, and completing challenges that you can't get enough of. Grow your empire so big you can see it from space. Low on funds? Don't worry. Weed Firm Replanted is free to download.
Download Weed Firm Replanted for free on the App Store and Google Play today. Get growing, Mr. Growing.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 1920s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
The Russ Belville Show, where the truth about marijuana gets more than a minute to speak.
When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The law office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Visit her website, firedupLawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired-up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com.
And Blue Blasten Gergen, Pfaffen der Blasten, Schnurb Norben. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation, only on CannabisRadio.com.
All right. Wrapping things up here on this beautiful Friday, reminding you that tomorrow and Sunday, this weekend, Portland Hemp Stock is happening at the Tom McCall Waterfront Park. I'll be there tomorrow night, Saturday night, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., manning the Portland Normal booth. If you're down there, you won't miss it. You'll see the Portland Normal booth, and I'll be there. So stop on by. We'll say hi. Winding up this Stoners Against Legalization up in Maine story. One of the people they talked to who's an opponent is worried that there'll be more regulations, more government scrutiny, higher licensing fees, and higher prices for pot. When I read these concerns by these Stoners Against Legalization, I keep waiting for one. Please give me one that has some basis in historical fact. Show me any of the states that have passed medical or legal marijuana that have seen the prices increase and stay at that level. Now, Washington, when they first legalized, yes, the prices went up because there was a supply problem. But now, prices in Washington State, lowest in the nation. Here in Oregon, lowest in the nation. Legalization is not going to raise the prices of your cannabis, folks. It can only lower it by increasing the supply and increasing the outlets for access. Here's another one. A person who says, where is it? I've got to find that other quote. Okay, so this guy says, okay, this is Hillary Lister, this woman who says she's an advocate for medical cannabis for over a decade. She says, quote, I would not consider it legalization in any sense of the word. Any criminal penalties that are currently in place right now will still be in place if question 1 passes, end quote. So here's that. If there remains any punishment for marijuana, don't remove any punishment for marijuana. Right? If we can't get rid of all the marijuana crimes, don't get rid of any marijuana crime. Well, first of all, she's inaccurate in the fact that any criminal penalties in place would still be in place. No, the criminal penalty for the cultivation, the criminal penalty for the possession, the criminal penalty for the selling, the criminal penalty for the cultivation for sale, those criminal penalties go away under the licensing and limits established by question 1. Yes, there still will remain penalties for, cultivating an unlicensed farm of 20,000 plants, sure. But there's criminal penalties for the unlicensed production of beer. There's criminal penalties for all sorts of things that people generally consider to be legal. This immature, juvenile, unnuanced belief that marijuana legalization means no laws on marijuana whatsoever, no penalties whatsoever, is a fool's errand. It's ridiculous. We've got another one. Don Kristen, who's apparently Maine's best-known pot activist, says, quote, in all actuality, it says legalize marijuana, and I love that, but it doesn't. It just doesn't, and it's chicanery. It's a lie. Why does he say it's a lie? Why is it chicanery? He won't support it because it doesn't allow people like him to expunge their felony convictions for growing pot. Right. Okay, so it doesn't include expungement for your felonies. So pass question 1, and then for your next initiative, try and get something that does expungements. These people seem to have this idea that when you legalize, it happens all in one fell swoop. And if you don't put everything in the kitchen sink into this one initiative, then it'll never happen. It'll never come to pass. Folks, that's not the way change happens in this country. We build on incremental successes. These are the kind of people that would have said we had to reject the Emancipation Proclamation because freeing the slaves didn't also include interracial marriage and didn't also include the Civil Rights Act of 1965, didn't also include affirmative action, whatever else. Nope. Let's just keep being slaves because the Emancipation Proclamation isn't true freedom, isn't true equality. Madness. And what really bothers me is that people like that, these stoners against legalization, give the rest of us a bad name by giving these public views of irrational tinfoil ass-hattery the stamp of being cannabis activists, of being reformers, and painting us all with this silliness. God, can't wait till we get so much legalization happening in this country that those people have no voice anymore. Folks, that's all the time we got for this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more news, views, and interviews you could use for the cannabis community. I'm Radical Russ. For everyone here at CannabisRadio.com, we'll see you next time. And until then, take care of each other, Tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at RadicalRuss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it,